One of the most common questions we get from new xBratAI users is, where are the profit targets? You see the push notifications to keep your phone close to the all systems green, with the stop loss, everything like that. But one of the main questions is, where are the profit targets? Is it an oversight? Is there something missing? No, it's neither. In fact, it's one of the most important features of our methodology. Today we're going to explain why we don't set fixed profit targets and how our approach is designed to maximize your winning trades. Traditional trading often teaches you to set a fixed profit target. You enter a trade and predefine your exit. The problem here is that you're putting a cap on your success before the trade has even had chance to develop. Think about it. How many times have you closed a trade for a small gain only to watch the market continue to run in your favor for hundreds of points? By setting a fixed target, you are deciding the maximum you can make, but the market doesn't care about your target. It might have much more to give. There is a crucial metric that comes in here, the average winner to average loser ratio. To be consistently profitable, your average winning trade needs to be significantly larger than your average losing trade. Cutting your winners short is one of the fastest ways to damage this ratio, and this is an example. So this is our current average winner to average loser ratio for each of the three asset classes here. You can see on the right, the average winner for futures is 150 ticks, whereas the average loser is 56 ticks. So that's a really good ratio there. Forex is 82 to 50, and then we've got 61 to 41 on crypto. So we're on the right side of everything. However, if you're one of those traders that likes to take 50 ticks every single trade, and you're still averaging 56 ticks on your losers, so this blue box defines a 50 tick portion, okay? If your average loser is 56 ticks, you're not in profit. In fact, you're making slight losses. And that's a lot of traders do that. Again, there's 50 ticks on the Forex. Again, we're about 50 ticks on there. So if you were there, you would be break even. You wouldn't be making any money. But you're leaving all this green on the right hand side on both because you're setting those fixed targets. On crypto, there's that 50 ticks. And in this case, yes, you would be making a slight little bit of profit there with there. But overall, if you're setting those profit targets, you're not getting the maximum potential of those moves. And this is where the xBratAI comes in. So how do we do it? The xBratAI, we focus on dynamic trade management. This is the core of our system. When our app sends a signal, it's not just a preset order. It's an alert that a high probability confluence setup has been identified. The trade is valid at that moment and within 2 or 3 minutes of that push notification coming in. From there, we manage it as the market develops. So instead of a profit target, we use a trailing stop and a dynamic momentum strategy from the xBrat manager. So as the trade moves in your favor, we automatically adjust the stop loss level in the direction of the trade. Okay, so I'm going to stop just there and talk about this chart on the left here. So this was a YM trade on the app last week, and you can see the initial risk was only 32 tick. Now, most traders would say that a 50 tick win on a 32 tick risk is a good trade, and they would set that profit target and get out. So again, remember, we built the confluences here to get into this trade. So the work's been done to identify momentum, direction, and this thing has confluence and it should move. What happened is this, okay? So we can see we were adjusting those stop loss positions every single candle close as it goes along. So by doing this, it does two powerful things. First, it protects your profits, and secondly, and most importantly, it keeps you in the trade, allowing your winners to run. We call this letting your runners run. A trade is only closed when the market shows us it's time to exit by reversing and hitting that trailing stop, or the system identifies a slowing in momentum from the xBrat manager, and tells you to get out with that manual notification. Not because it hit any arbitrary number we picked earlier, because we don't know what the future brings. So in this situation, the manager identifies a sideways movement, but it identifies there's no big selling pressure there from all those dots above the candles and the coloured candles. I'm not going to go into that. But then we see a move out of that consolidation into what we call our guardian zone. So this looks for decision points on the 60-minute zone. And we see we've got lots of decision points in there. And we can see the price eventually pushes up into there, but it retraces more than 50% on that same candle with higher than average volume. That's an indication it's going to turn around. So that's when you get a push notification that it's losing momentum and the system's closing the trade. But the difference is here, that trade was a 318 tick trade. Yes, it's twice as much as our average, but that's how our averages build up, those winning average percentage, those ticks. That's how that builds up, by allowing those runners. If you'd have just stuck at that 50, you'd have left a lot on the table there. So in essence, remember, we're waiting for those stop loss adjust price, like this one for US dollar CAD, for example. We keep getting those stop loss adjusts, we keep adjusting as we go along. Remember, that all born from that keeping your phone close. In this case, it was an MNQ, the micro NASDAQ at 0640, and then some 11 minutes later, we get that all systems green and we have that stop loss price. So then, as I said before, this is an example on Euro US dollar at the top here. The system's closing Euro US dollar trade because it's losing momentum. This actually happened at this point here, but I didn't take a screenshot of that because I was busy trading. But again, this just goes to show you that this is the reason why we don't take those profit targets. We don't entertain that type of strategy, because when confluence builds, we're looking for momentum and we're looking for the runners and we're looking for that ratio. So these are the current ratios that we have. This is our cryptos. We can see here our average loser to average winner, and check out the link below this video because this is our updated performance page. Every single week we update this with real data. You can even download those data and check it on ChatGPT or whatever it is to see if they were real trades. So we can see we're weighted on that crypto where those average winners to average losers. There are some that's very similar, and trading's not perfect, but the algorithm, the AI adjusts to get that average win rate a lot better than those average losers. And this is the Forex overview. We can see here we're pretty much standard with those average losers there. We've got a good risk management and the way we manage those trades, and then we've got a good nice green belt on those average winners. And then this is the futures as well. We can see here we have really good sometimes it's a little bit weird that we've got 100% win rate on MNQ, but that's the way it is right now. That will change week to week as we get more trades, winners and losers. The only one suffering at the moment is RTY, where the average loser is slightly greater than the average winner. And again, that's down to the AI, the black box, to rectify that and get that win rate. But overall, for the asset class, very, very good. Remember that first slide. We've got an average winner across that asset class of futures, 450 ticks, and we've got that average loser of 56 ticks. So again, trading those signals as though they come through on the app for those future assets, we've got a good win rate. We can see here win rate of 85%, but then we have that big ratio between average winner and average loser. So hopefully that helps. Check out those links below. Get involved with the app. And again, this is to understand, this is why we do not set a profit target.